During the Dragon Ball Battle Hour 2024, we had some new reveals. If you were there, you were lucky enough to actually see it as it was revealed. For those of us that weren't there, we had to wait until after it. But we had a new reveal of a 1% sparking unit, who is Bulla or Bra, however you want to call it, Vegeta's daughter basically, with a Vegeta assist alongside it. And we had a brand new reveal of a Legends Limited unit, and of course that was the Super 17. So now the Battle Hour is over. We've also got all the details about, at the very least, the Legends Limited unit being Super 17. So in this video, we're going to be going through everything he does and seeing just how well he does. It's been a little while since I've done this type of video, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe, especially if you do like this type of content. And without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go. Okay, so yes, we are going to jump in straight into the breakdown and what he does and all that sort of good stuff. Just so you know, he should be released as of tomorrow, or resets from the day of filming this. He does look quite good, to be fair. I have had a little look at what he does prior. If I be honest, personally, Super 17 isn't one of my favourite characters, but it is still nice to see him in this GT Saga campaign, and something other than a Saiyan or a hybrid Saiyan, basically. So, bear it in mind, as it says, it is subject to change, but we're going to go through everything he does. So, we will also read the yellow text, which is Legends Limited Super 17 is here with the means to unleash a fierce assault through absorbing ki blasts to activate powerful effects. The powerful effects activated by absorbing ki blasts. Use special arts to absorb your opponent's ki blast attacks. Upon activation, your unfavorable element factors will be nullified. And if absorption is successful, the enemy's vanish gauge will be reduced to 0, and you'll inflict them with no switching. So we're seeing a lot of this inflicting with vanishing gauge reduced to 0 recently. We've got BB, we've got Beast Gohan, we've got this 17, we've even got the GT Goku as well. Your own vanishing gauge will also be recovered by 100%, so you can really let them have it. So somewhat looking offensively, but he does have a lot of defense / passive abilities as well. Strong offensive via blast arts, and unique gauge has a blast arts with 170% blast damage inflicted against blast armor, which is quite a lot. Usually it's about 100 to 150. Recovers ki and buffs special move damage inflicted when using blast cards. When the unique gauge is full, it resets to 0 and nullifies the enemy's cover change, plus the attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions will be cancelled, and you'll draw a blast arts card so your offense can just keep going. Also, we've got powerful counterattack capabilities after special cover change. After activating the special cover change against strike arts, you'll get another ultimate, so you can draw more than one. You can even deal damage to enemies on standby, so unleashing your ultimate arts on the enemy with an advantageous element, and you can deal huge damage to all your opponent characters. So his ultimate is also an AoE. Like I said, he is red, fits androids, GT, Merging, Fusion Warrior, powerful opponent. Probably the main three: androids, GT, and powerful opponent. And he's obviously in the Super 17 saga from GT. So, like I said, we're going to go through everything that he does. Hit that like and subscribe, especially if you like this type of content. Aim for a 30 like goal, because it's been a little while because we've been doing all of these through the reveals and stuff. If you prefer this sort of style, let me know down in the comments. But let's carry on. So we got the main ability then. So greatly recover your health and ki and draw the ultimate arts card, Flash Bomber. What's more, Super 17 will get a buff that reduces enemy damage, cut effects based on how many are left, which the GT units are starting to do this. So the more characters or enemy characters you defeat, the stronger their effects are. It's very similar to the GT Spirit Bomb Goku. The more that you defeat, the stronger his effects are using his main ability. The fewer enemies, the greater the buff, so you can do some real damage. So what he does with his main ability then, randomly destroys one of your own cards and draws the ultimate arts card, Flash Bomber. Next, he restores his own health by 30% and ki by 50. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 20% to damage received, which is quite big actually. And he also inflicts all enemies with -1 arts card draw speed for 20 timer counts. So here it is where the more enemy defeated, the higher the buff. If you've got 3 battle members that you're up against, you've got minus 30% to enemy sustained damage cut effects. If there's only 2 on the enemy's team, minus 40, and if there's 1, it's minus 70%, which is not bad. So like I said, the more that you defeat, the stronger his abilities are. His Z ability buffs GT and androids, and then when you get higher stars, you also buff powerful opponent as well. Yeah, basically. So strike arts then. Looking at his arts to start off with. Strike arts, no blast armor, unfortunately, but it inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% damage received. So you can build this onto the main ability as well. That's pretty much it for strike. Blast, he's got 170% blast damage inflicted against enemies' armor, so blast armor, so you can do a lot more damage there as well. Then special move, which is where things start to go a little bit crazier. When activated, this special move will recover key and seal one of your enemy's cards. You'll also inflict all enemies a sub count on hit, so even when the enemy is on the battlefield on the verge of defeat, your enemy won't be able to switch to another character. So he deals massive impact damage. The following effects occur upon activation. Restores own key by 30, seals one enemy card slot randomly, which is a really annoying effect. The sealed cards cannot be used for more than 10 timer counts, and the following effects occur on hit. Draws a special arts card next, so basically a green card, activates once, and inflicts all enemies with 3 sub counts. He's also got blast armor on his blue card, which isn't bad, seeing as he hasn't got on his strike. Looking at his green card then, so quite a lot of what he does is built around this green card, and this is where he gets pretty crazy, to be honest. So the special art is what Super 17 or makes Super 17 stand out, as it allows you to absorb Ki Blast attacks, very similar to the green Super 17, and there's a couple of other 17s that can do this as well. But I don't know whether there's going to be a long animation or anything like that until I actually use him or go up against one. Just by activating it, your unfavorable element factors will be nullified and the enemy's Rising Rush will be sealed. If the absorption is successful, the enemy's vanish gauge will be reduced to 0, and all enemy characters will be inflicted with no switching. This means if you pull off an absorption, you can launch a devastating counter-attack and overwhelm your opponent. So, his green card then. Absorbs the enemy's Ki Blast, so that should be either tap attack or it should just be normal blast cards. The following effects upon activation, so as soon as you activate it, it nullifies unfavorable element factors, it reduces enemy ki by 50, seals all enemies' main abilities for 5 timer counts, and seals the Rising Rush for 5 timer counts. But if you do actually manage to absorb the blast cards, he also restores his own Vanish Engage by 100, activates 3 times, which is pretty strong. He also gets 100% of his own unique gauge charge rate for 5 timer counts, and plus 50% to blast arts damage inflicted for 10 timer counts, which is quite a lot, to be honest. He reduces the enemy ki by 50, and he also reduces the enemy's Vanish Engage to 0, and he inflicts all enemies with no switching for 3 timer counts. So you can really counter-attack on this. The only downside to it is it does promote very passive play, basically fishing to get it out, or get it off, basically. So yes, they want to promote that counter-attack sort of side of it, but I can see a lot more people just going for the passive play style, especially with Ultra UI being around. Having this guy on the team as well, it's going to be a very passive team, to be honest, which goes against Dragon Ball Legends overall. Right, so looking at his ultimate then. With his ultimate arts, you can inflict an amazing half the damage inflicted onto the enemy standby characters on hit. I think this is one of the first times it's actually stated half the damage. It usually says a portion. So I'll be interested to see how much this actually does. Meanwhile, the effects of this arts become even greater with fewer enemies that there are. So do you want to use it early and seriously weaken the enemy party? Or do you want to wait until their numbers are down to deal a finishing blow? It's up to you. So deals massive impact damage, applies the following effects to self upon activation, restores ki by 30, nullifies endurance essentially for 3 timer counts, and then depending on the battle members on the enemy's team, if there's 3 battle members, plus 20% to the ultimate damage inflicted, 2 battle members, it's plus 40%, 1 battle member, so the very last guy, plus 70%. So get stronger with less characters on the enemy's team, basically. The following effects occur on hit. He draws a special arts card next, so another way to get a green card, bear that in mind. And half the damage inflicted will be dealt as an AoE. He's also got blast armor on this. So that's all the cards at the moment. We'll go into the unique abilities, but there is a lot going on with this guy. Like I said, somewhat promotes that passive play, but if you can use him correctly in the way of like the counter attack, and you get those green cards off, you can be winning basically. So let's go into the unique abilities. Looking at his unique abilities then, we'll look at the first one, of course, to start off with. When using Blast Arts, you get an increase to your special move damage inflicted, and on hit, you'll randomly seal one of your opponent's cards. Sealing, you probably know from the Goku and Frieza, it's a really annoying thing to deal with as the opponent. So keep on using Blast Arts until you find the best plan of attack. So you can just seal their entire hand, basically. Plus, when you land certain type of tap actions, like quick attacks or tap shots, and this is actually quite new for this guy, for Dragon Ball Legends as a whole, I think. We'll have a look at the word in a second. The enemy strike and special move arts will be sealed for 2 timer counts. Combine this with your ability to absorb Ki Blast attacks to prevent your opponent from attacking. So, like I said, we'll have a little look before I go into that, to be honest. So, applies the following effects itself when the battle starts. 100% damage inflicted. If you get a green card off, that can go up to 150. It's got other ways as well. Reduce damage received by 70. Card draw speed by 1 level. And -10 to blast, special move, or ultimate arts cost. Cannot be cancelled. Very important. Applies the following effects itself when this character enters the battlefield. Restores Ki by 30. Plus 90% of damage inflicted, activates once and cannot be cancelled, and that is not time gated. So you kind of don't want to start off with him. You want to bring him into the battlefield, get that extra damage inflicted. So at some points, he can go up to like 240% damage inflicted. Pretty crazy if you get a green card off. Plus 400% of the amount unique gauge is charged by the next arts card used, which is a huge amount. A huge amount. We'll see what this is like in practice though. Applies the following effects itself every time this character uses a Blast Arts card. So restores his Ki by 10, so you can just keep restoring his Ki. Plus 15% to special move damage inflicted, activates 3 times, so that can go up to 75%. So you want to get off at least 3 Blast Arts before using a blue, basically. Plus 20% to Ki recovery, cannot be cancelled, activates 4 times as well. The following effects occur upon landing a Blast Arts hit. Seals 1 enemy card slot randomly, so if you get 4 in a row, I assume this will block out their entire hand. The sealed card slot cannot be used for 10 timer counts, and inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 80% of health restoration for 3 timer counts. So you can really, really wall them off, to be honest with this, as long as you get like 4 Blast Arts off for 10 timer counts-ish. They're going to be struggling to do anything, to be honest. So this is what's new, basically. The following effects occur upon landing a tap attack. 3rd attack, it says. So basically, you probably know if you play it, when you are tap attacking very close range, you can either do it once, you do like a short 1-2, or you can do it twice, you do like 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can do it the 3rd time and it goes all the way through the tap actions. So it wants you to go all the way. Or you can have a tap shot, so just throwing a blast cut, like a Ki Blast from long range, just the one, you know, tap shot, or quick attack on hit. And he gets 50% own unique gauge charge rate for 10 timer counts, which is pretty good. And he also seals enemy strike and special move arts. So going for a quick attack, usually you're a bit worried that people use their strike arm or the blast armor or something like that. He seals it on a quick attack, so they won't be able to do that. So they either have to dodge or just hope to go for a blast attack, which you can, if you've got a green card, you can just go for it, basically. So it really makes it hard for the opponent to counter attack. So not only that, the sealed arts cannot be used for 2 timer counts, but like I said, this promotes a little bit more aggression when it comes to the quick attack. So I do like this, to be honest. The only thing is, like I said, that green card does promote that passive play, but if you've seen any of my sort of gameplay videos, I like to be quite aggressive personally because I don't like sitting back. I get impatient, which is not the greatest for this game. That is probably the best way to play, but that is the case. I get impatient. I just want to play the game basically and have fun. So for me, this might actually work out quite well. I started off with saying Super 17 is probably not one of my most favorite characters, but I might end up using this guy a lot more than I realize. but we'll see. So let's go into the unique ability, or the second one. Okay, moving on to the unique ability 2. So we've got Super 17 has a special cover change against Strike Arts, and when it's activated, you'll draw an Ultimate Arts card, Flash Bomber, so you can get 2 ultimates. Bear that in mind. If you can nail this special cover change, you'll be able to use the Ultimate Arts early in battle. Once the unique gauge is full, it will reset to 0. Your opponent's special cover change has been nullified, and you draw a Blast Arts card. Make Blast Arts your focus as you keep building the unique gauge and unleash a devastatingly fierce attack. In addition, when your opponent activates a special move arts, Ultimate Arts Awakens or Rising Rush, their attribute upgrades will be cancelled. In other words, you can cancel effects that normally nullify your endurance effect, which makes Super 17 an excellent partner for characters with endurance effects. And a bit of a plug here for the previous GT character, Super Ultra Spirit Bomb wielding Legends Limited Goku. So a lot of characters have this as a baseline now. Basically, every time someone uses Awakens or Rise and Rush, stuff like that, it cancels their attribute upgrades. So the people that come to mind is Gogeta Blue and Vegeta Blue, to be honest. So that is probably the main reason they've done it. So he's got cover change against Strike Arts, which you can combo with a special move or an Ultimate Arts, because he does pull an Ultimate Arts once when you do manage to get that cover change off. Let's see if it's, yeah, when you perform the special cover change, you have to do it against Strike Arts. He also, of course, has a unique gauge, pretty standard for Legends Limited units these days. So charges his own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card whilst they're on the battlefield. So very similar to like the Blue Beast Gohan. Once the unique gauge is filled, it resets to 0 and the following effects occur. So draws a Blast Arts card next, restores own health by 10% and ki by 40. Plus 25% of damage inflicted for 50 timer counts. So theoretically, you could probably go up to like 265% extra damage, which is huge. Nullifies cover changes basically for 5 timer counts. Cancels own attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions. And reduces enemy Dragon Balls by 1. So the GT squad as a whole is destroying a lot of Dragon Balls, which, considering they sort of amended that in PvP and the amount of Dragon Balls you can gain, that is quite strong. The following effects occur every time this enemy uses an arts card whilst his character's on the battlefield. So every time they use one, bear in mind, you don't have to get hit, so you can vanish out of it, etc, etc. Randomly draws at most 3 new cards when you have 3 or fewer cards. Restores own health by 3%, and that is just continuous. So a little bit like the Raccoon Guldo, although they don't have to be hit, it's just when they use it. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade +2 to arts cost for 15 timer counts. The following effects occur when there's so much to this. When enemy switches characters whilst his character's on the battlefield, draws a blast cards next, restores own ki by 30, nullifies unfavorable element factors for damage sustained for 5 timer counts, reduces enemy ki by 20, +2 to all enemies sub counts as well. Cancels enemies' buff effects every time the enemy uses a special move arts card whilst his character's on the battlefield, activates 3 times, and the following effects occur when the enemy activates an Ultimate Arts, Awaken Arts or Rise and Rush whilst his character's on the battlefield, shortens allies' sub count by 5, very strong. Especially when you've got like Revival Piccolo or someone like that who also manipulates his sub count, or Goku and Frieza for example. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade, -50% to Ultimate and Awaken Arts power for 3 timer count, and cancels enemy buff effects. And that's pretty much everything. I say pretty much everything because we may see a little bit more out of him, but that should be everything with his Ultimate Arts. Let's have this playing in the background. But like I said, he's got a bit of a passive sort of side to him, and that's mainly his green card. Outside of that, he looks like he can counter-attack quite strongly, to be honest. And not only that, he looks very, very toxic. Like I said, with the green cards and everything else he does, sealing slots on the enemy cards, getting stronger with the less enemies remaining. Very interesting unit, some of it which I think we'll see better during the showcase. Hopefully we pull a copy of him, but he's looking very strong, and in my head, the main unit this looks like it's going to go up against, basically, is the Ultra UI Goku. Obviously he's got type advantage, and Ultra UI Goku's very blast orientated, so he looks like he's going to stop him. Goodbye, Ultra UI Goku already, to be honest. But let me know your thoughts on him down below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Like I said, hit a like goal of 30 likes if you do like this sort of video. Goes on for a little bit longer. What will we, like 15, 20 minutes? Something like that, because there's a lot to talk about it. But usually we've been doing it through the reveals and stuff, which we couldn't this time because it was revealed in Battle Hour. But like I said, if you like this sort of content, make sure to watch through the entire video. Hit that like button, let me know. But other than that, stay tuned for the summons. Of course, I'll be summoning. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, catch you later. Ciao.